Hello, friends. I recently came across this YouTube channel by the name of The Dive with Jackson Hinkle, and after watching a couple of his videos, I was shocked at the things this man was saying. I wanted to do a reaction video and show you how biased he was, and how much he favors Russian aggression against Ukraine. He starts off the video by trying to blame the mayor of Kyiv because he told the residents not to panic from the missiles coming from Russia. Let's listen to what he says.
Going to be. So let's take a look at this. Continued Russian strikes on Ukraine's power grid may bring about an apocalyptic scenario in Kiev, Mayor Vitaly Klitschko told Reuters on Wednesday, but insisted that authorities were doing everything they could, and there was no need for residents to leave the city just yet. Quote, Kiev might lose power, water, and heat supply. The apocalypse might happen, like in Hollywood films, when it's not possible to live in homes considering the low temperature, Klitschko said. But we are fighting and doing everything we can to make sure that this does not happen. Okay, so I don't know how that's supposed to make people not panic when you say it might be like apocalyptic Hollywood films. He says, if electricity supply continues to be absent while outside temperatures remain low, we will unfortunately be forced to drain water from buildings, Klitschko said. Otherwise, the water can freeze and break the entire water supply network, and buildings will then be totally unfit for further use. Okay. He also said that there was no need to evacuate at the moment since the city only had a 20% power deficit. Only a 20% power.
So, in other words, when a mayor tells his people not to panic during a war, that's a bad thing. But Russia bombing the city and causing the city to lose electricity, buildings not to have water, is apparently totally okay with him, since he never points out the fact that this humanitarian crisis that is happening in Ukraine is because of Russia, not because the mayor is telling the people not to panic.
Power deficit, you guys, it's completely fine. Now, the insanity behind this is at a time when the writing is on the wall, at a time when we all understand what's happening, not just in Ukraine, but also in collective, Europe. Why would you continue to push forward? Why would you not begin to try and negotiate a peace deal with the Russians? We know that the Russians do have the capacity.
So this is Ukraine's fault because they don't want to negotiate for a peace deal? Hold on a minute. I thought the whole point of this special operation, or special military operation, was to protect the citizens of Ukraine from the neo-Nazis, or Zelensky, or Europe. Not use them as a bargaining chip to get what you want. I mean, imagine if every big country in the world did what Russia is doing today in Ukraine. Threaten to attack a smaller nation unless it will negotiate for a deal so bad, you can consider it extortion.
To launch, well, right now they've been launching like 70 missile barrages on the Ukrainians, particularly in regions outside of Kiev. They actually claim they didn't hit Kiev in the recent missile barrage. I'm not sure if that's the case.
Oh wow, they didn't hit Kiev this time. How nice of Russia. They must be the good guys, right?
But, they have the capacity for this. They also have the capacity to do a 300 to 400 missile barrage in a single day. So given that they have that capacity, given that it seems as though we're headed down that path, and if we head down that path, we know that the situation is going to be very grim for the Ukrainian people insofar as...
Very grim for the Ukrainian people. I wonder who's at fault for the Ukrainian suffering. Surely it must be Europe, right? They're the ones bombing Ukraine. Or no, it's America. They're the ones bombing Ukraine. They're the ones bombing Kyiv. Right or wrong?
Having to evacuate millions of refugees, not having food, not having water, not having electricity, not having heat. Basically, in essence, hundreds of thousands of people will die. Millions will have to turn into refugees and flee Ukraine, but the Europeans aren't going to want them. They're going to want to keep them in Ukraine. They're going to scapegoat these people. It's going to turn into a massive mess. Given all of this, again, how does it not resonate with any leaders in the West that they need to bring an end to this war, even if it means giving Putin everything that he wants, like giving them Odessa, giving them Nikolaev? The writing is on the wall. Anyone who...
The writing is on the wall, giving them Odessa, giving them Nikolaev. This is textbook Russian propaganda here. The bigger, stronger country is allowed to do whatever they want because the weaker country is not capable of protecting itself. I really wonder what he would say if Russia, for example, bombed his city or killed his family. Would he argue the same? Would he argue that America has to give up some land so more people don't die?
Who believes that the path for Ukraine should be to continue down the warmongering path on behalf of the Western Nazi ideologues of NATO is completely delusional, coping and seething, and wants nothing more than to see the Ukrainian people suffer. The path that we want, the path that we are suggesting here on this show to take for the Europeans, the Ukrainians, the United States to take, would be the best scenario at this late stage in the war for the Ukrainian people. despite the fact that they say we hate them, despite the fact that they say, oh, you don't care about those people, you support Russia. Okay, well, Russia supports the Ukrainian people more than Ukraine at this point. That's a tough pill to swallow, but it is.
So Ukraine is supposed to hand over all jurisdiction to the country that is bombing them. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. The country that's bombing critical infrastructure, killing the civilians, cares more about the citizens of Ukraine than Europe, the one that has taken millions of refugees and supports them financially. Obviously, right?
Is the truth. Just look at what their own mayor, Vitaly Klitschko, has to say. Don't panic. It may be an apocalypse. You're probably going to have to leave. You're not going to probably have water or electricity, but it'll be fine. We just need to fight Russia a little bit longer.
So what is this? The mayor is at fault here because Russia is bombing and killing people? You know, this guy is clearly a Russian sympathizer who was probably getting paid by the Kremlin. He doesn't care about the people of Ukraine. As a matter of fact, he probably doesn't even care about anybody but himself. For him, fame and money is more important than telling the truth. And that tells me all I need to know about this person. I mean, he's saying things like Ukraine should give up its land, Ukraine should give up its sovereignty, because Russia is bombing them. What an argument to make, huh? Anyways, always be on the lookout for people like Jackson, who will try to manipulate the truth and make the bad guy look good. Thank you.